Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. We take a lot of digs at the media on this show, and we do it for two reasons. It's fun, and they deserve it. Recently, we've watched with growing amusement as our media gatekeepers thrash around in a frenzy of foaming hysteria over the possibility that someone somewhere might dare to present facts or form opinions without their express written permission. Freelance thinking is what they hate most. It's a threat to their monopoly. They can't say that out loud, so instead they call it disinformation. Disinformation is the real threat, says the guy who thinks his union has the contract on bringing you the news. It's ridiculous. But before you judge these people, take a moment and feel some compassion. Consider how they might be feeling right about now. Imagine if you had spent 30 years making a good living as a car mechanic, and all of a sudden GM invents an engine that anyone can fix at home with a screwdriver. You'd be upset. That's how CNN feels about the internet. It's exposing their scam. Naturally, they're a little irrational about it.
Millions of Americans clinging to conspiracy theories. This is all evidence of radicalization. And that's not easy to say. It's not an easy word to use. But it's way past time to talk about this honestly. No one should tiptoe past this predicament. Disinformation networks like QAnon are causing people to lose touch with reality.
Disinformation networks? That doesn't sound like a misleading social media post. It sounds like a terror cell. And it sounds that way on purpose. The thing about disinformation, they're telling us, is that it's not simply harmful to you personally. It's not like eating a pint of Ben & Jerry's or sneaking a smoke while the kids are at school. No, disinformation isn't a sin, it's a crime. Disinformation hurts everyone. It's an offense against this country. Disinformation is an attack on America, and not just on America, but more critically, on something called our norms.
Our norms are so out of whack that it has become surprising when good things happen.
Even after 4 years of us talking, night after night about the norms that are being shattered.
He is doing everything to shred every one of these norms.
We can't allow these kind of democratic norms to be shattered.
So we abided by these norms, but this president is just in this administration, just blown right through those norms.
Not since the Red Scare have once good men and women been dragged into this kind of sabotage of our democracy and social norms.
Our norms. Shattered, shredded, crushed, destroyed, blown through. Why is it always our norms that are the first to be attacked? Maybe because our norms are democracy's first responders. They run to the sound of gunfire. Norms are like the young lieutenants in Vietnam walking point through the rice paddies, exposing themselves to fire in order to save the platoon. It's a dangerous job being a norm, and never more so than now. You thought underwater welding was a treacherous gig? You feared for the guys who fix antennas on skyscrapers? That's nothing. Imagine being a norm in today's America. They don't last long. Okay, we'll stop. It's all pretty amusing and it's hard to resist. Our norms, our norms! On the other hand, if we're being completely honest here, and we strive to be completely honest, we have to admit there is a kernel of truth in what they're yelling about. There is disinformation out there, and it does hurt people. It makes people stupid, for one thing, but it also impairs their ability to make wise decisions. You can't know what to do next if you don't know what's really going on. A lot of people in this country are in that position right now. We saw evidence of it just this week. We read a research paper called How Informed Are Americans About Race and Policing? It was published by the Skeptic Research Center. Check it out online if you have a minute. It's a pretty amazing document. The researchers asked people to estimate the number of unarmed African Americans who were killed by the police in 2019. Here are the results. 44% of Americans who describe themselves as liberal believe the total number of killed was, quote, 1,000 or more. More than 1,000 unarmed African Americans gunned down by cops. Is that true? Well, as it happened, we have definitive statistics on this. They're publicly available. You can find them in about a minute. The actual number of unarmed African Americans killed by the police in 2019 was 27. So more than 1,000 versus the reality of 27. Quite a spread. And it was not an anomaly. The rest of the study found similar results. Self-described liberals, for example, believe that a strong majority of people killed by police in 2019 were African Americans. The actual percentage was less than half that, closer to 25%. These are not small mistakes. A lot of Americans are completely and utterly misinformed, and that has actual consequences. Public policy can change dramatically on the basis of things people think they know but don't actually know. And we have seen that a lot. Entire police departments got defunded. So it's worth finding out where the public is getting all this false information, this disinformation, as we'll call it. So we checked. We spent all day trying to locate the famous QAnon, which in the end we learned is not even a website. If it's out there, we could not find it. Then we checked Marjorie Taylor Greene's Twitter feed because we have heard she traffics in disinformation, CNN told us, but nothing there. Next, we called our many friends in the tight-knit intel community. Could Vladimir Putin be putting this stuff out there? The Proud Boys? Alex Jones? Who is lying to America in ways that are certain to make us hate each other and certain to destroy our core institutions? Well, none of the above, actually. It wasn't Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was cable news. It was politicians talking on TV. They're the ones spreading disinformation to Americans. Maybe they're from QAnon. You be the judge.
We have a long and wretched and disturbing history in this country of black people being murdered by law enforcement.
Training for police officers on implicit racial bias and procedural justice, because to deny it exists is to deny folks liberty and in many cases life.
How can we continue to lose the lives of unarmed black men in the United States of America at the hands of white police officers?
I never had to tell my daughter, if she's pulled over, make sure she puts, for a traffic stop, put both hands on top of the wheel and don't reach for the glove box because someone may shoot you.
So not only are huge numbers of unarmed African Americans murdered every year because of their race, to deny that or question that fact is to effectively participate in those killings yourself. Denying this is denying them life, as Kamala Harris put it, or as CNN said, it's mass murder.
No, I'm not telling people to go out there and riot. But tell me what the proportional response to mass murder over the years is. What is a proportional response to that?
I'm not telling people to go out and riot, but what is the proportional response to mass murder? Good question, CNN. Burning Wendy's, obviously. But where, you ask, and this is the missing piece of the puzzle, are all the victims of this indiscriminate racial violence? Well, in January, MSNBC was pretty sure they had found one. The channel claimed cops had tried to execute an unarmed African-American man called Jacob Blake in Wisconsin. And they repeated that claim that Jacob Blake was unarmed again and again and again.
No charges will be brought against the police officer or any of the police officers involved in the shooting of Jacob Blake. He was an unarmed black man who was shot.
Viewers may recall an officer shot Blake in the back 7 times while he was unarmed.
Another example of African Americans not receiving equal protection of law. Mr. Blake was unarmed at the time that he was shot.
So it's sad that Jacob Blake got shot. Sincerely, it's always sad when people get shot, whether you agree with them or not, period. But why Jacob Blake was shot is kind of the whole point of the story, isn't it? Mr. Blake was unarmed at the time he was shot. That's what they told us again and again. And yet someone in MSNBC's news division forgot to check with Jacob Blake about that, because a week later, Jacob Blake himself admitted on camera that he was, in fact, armed.
I'm rattled. You know, I realized I had dropped my knife. I had a little pocket knife. So I picked it up after I got off of him because they tased me and I fell on top of him. I shouldn't have picked it up, only considering what was going on. At that time, I wasn't thinking clearly.
Oh, just to be totally clear, we feel sorry for Jacob Blake. He got hurt. It'll change his life forever. But it's not quite the neat little morality tale we thought it was, is it? And again, we're not telling you that. We're not correcting the lie because we're smug and self-satisfied and enjoy highlighting the other people's errors. We're just defending our norms here as any American would. Are we heroes for doing that? We can't say so. It just feels like the right thing to do. But it is a never-ending task. We could give you many examples. Here's one from the weekend. Hundreds of activists gathered in New York to stage a march against white nationalism. They said they were seeking justice for an 84-year-old man from Thailand who had been slashed with a box cutter on the subway. A lot of violence on the New York subway right now. Here's one example. Protesters stormed through Washington Square Park, chanting slogans like, "Whose streets? Our streets." One held a sign that read, "White nationalism is the virus." Well, maybe it is the virus, but it's hard to know exactly who's been infected with it. Police have now arrested a 19-year-old man called Antoine Watson for the crime. Let's just say it's hard to imagine that Antoine Watson is a white supremacist. So why are they suggesting otherwise? What is all of this about? Well, here's an interesting theory, and it comes to us from a researcher called Zach Goldberg, who does not work at CNN, by the way. Goldberg looked at every time the term racism was used in America's largest newspapers, and he noticed a trend. In fact, there was a noticeable spike just after 2011, which not coincidentally was right around the time of the Occupy Wall Street movement, when people were starting to talk about what Wall Street actually does in public. Suddenly, all at once, journalists agreed that the real problem in America is it's racism. America is not a place with a screwed-up economic system that rewards a tiny number of emotionally damaged grifters who possess otherwise useless skills applicable only to finance and pie gow. A place where everyone else gets poorer, people with real jobs are making less, people in finance are making more. But that's not a problem. No. Stop talking about it immediately, and that's in order. No. America is instead, we learned, a place where the rest of us must hate each other at all times because of our skin colors, which, by the way, cannot be changed. And that way, once we're all yelling and aggrieved and angry about irresolvable race questions, once we've picked the wound until it won't stop bleeding, we won't have the time to ask even the most basic questions about economics. Questions like, why are all these billionaire hedge fund guys paying half the tax rate I am? And who precisely is getting rich from the Federal Reserve? Where's all that money going? It'd be nice to know, but you don't see a ton of stories about those questions in the New York Times. They're too busy talking about race. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, this cover Wall Street op, if you think about it. Vladimir Putin could never pull it off. He'd buy a few dopey ads on Facebook and call it a day, home to his vodka and bears. No, it takes a sophisticated operator to lie this effectively, to take the central problem of American life, which is the agonizing death of our middle class, and cover it with a smokescreen of manufactured race hatred so that no one even realizes it's happening. You'd really need to be as CNN would put it, a disinformation network to pull that off. And of course, the irony is, because everything is irony, is that CNN itself has become a disinformation network, more powerful than QAnon and far more destructive. You got to wonder if Jeff Zucker's ever going to get hauled up to Congress to ask for that.